Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty crazy news ongoing right now where Sony and Microsoft have some pretty big beef. And this is more in regards to like some of the biggest AAA games out there that they're competing against and trying to go against. And as well, we're seeing a lot more information coming out from an ongoing legal case where there's basically a really big fight between Sony and Microsoft itself. And this is in regards to basically now Sony apparently now going and trying their best to spend as much money as they can to keep games off of Game Pass and basically trying to keep the exclusivity rights going on and a lot of intermingling of the games in general. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. There's also kind of some juicy news as well going on throughout today. And as well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. As well, for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway, we have the Amazon links down below, Twitter and Twitch stream down below to follow, and of course the Target links we've been seeing a lot of folks getting and receiving their consoles. So this is going to be a pretty juicy video. So if you guys have kind of missed it, I do believe there's like an ongoing court case going on right now when it comes to all these really big companies. And obviously Game Pass has been trying their best to go and get as many exclusives and first-party, third-party exclusives, either or, and basically trying their best to go and monopolize up the gaming scene. They want as many people on Game Pass as possible. And obviously, PlayStation has already seen this issue, and now they're apparently claiming that Sony has been paying for blocking rights to essentially keep games off the Xbox Game Pass. So you have an article here from The Verge talking about this, with a huge claim from Microsoft pushing the fact that Sony might be spending millions upon millions of dollars to try their best to maintain up this open market. So a lot of stuff. So basically Microsoft has now claimed that Sony is paying for blocking rights to stop developers from adding their content to Xbox Game Pass. The explosive claims are part of the document's Word doc filed with Brazil's National Competition regulator and part of a review of Microsoft's acquisition of the Activision Blizzard, which you guys can maybe kind of see through some of these actual type of like Google documents where they kind of go very in depth. Where they're just, these are pretty much on the legal side, or they're trying to be like, hey, what's going on? Is this good? Is this bad? Do we object? Do we not object? How is this all kind of ongoing? Obviously from a different, region though, but it is still all legal, and legal case sometimes does formulate all throughout the world. Microsoft's ability to continue expanding Game Pass has been hampered by Sony's desire to inhibit such growth, claims Microsoft in an August 9th filing to the Administrative Council for Economic Defense, or the CADE. As translated from Portuguese, Sony pays for blocking rights to prevent developers from adding content to Game Pass and other competing subscription services. Now, on first glance, I don't think that's necessarily bad, because if you kind of let Microsoft kind of free run and do whatever, they're going to probably spend a lot of money because they have the money, the assets to do it. And then obviously what's going to happen with PlayStation, where if they lose even big scale indie games, or those like cool, say, Assassin's Creed type style games like those. Like if you lose those, that is still a huge market, or even think Call of Duty 2 as well, which PlayStation's a huge #1 bestseller for the PlayStation Network for Call of Duty. So it's kind of crazy because it's kind of like a back and forth. It's like Sony's trying their best to go and push back and not allow Game Pass to become a huge, massive monopoly, but at the same time, Microsoft is like, hey, like we want to give these people money and we want to make sure this economy is going good. Why can't we? So this kind of goes into the big monopoly versus like, will Activision actually go through or not? So does this mean that Sony is evil and Microsoft is casually out here revealing some dastardly business practices? The reality is likely a little more complicated on both sides, which I'd agree on. Sony could simply be paying for exclusive rights for its own streaming services, so think like, PS Plus, PS Plus Premium. And Sony also as well can maybe have some clauses in some publishing contracts that prevent some games it publishes from being published on rival subscription services. So it maybe makes sense too as well. Like maybe if it's just on the free market and open for anyone for Xbox, they might be down with it and okay with it. Or on the opposite, maybe PlayStation itself is maybe the bad guy. Maybe Xbox is the good guy. Maybe it's vice versa. But it's kind of one of those intriguing things that the court has to decide. It's not clear exactly what Microsoft is referring to here, but contracts for publishing games can be complex, particularly when rights for streaming and subscription services are involved. Documents filed in the Epic Games vs. Apple trial last year revealed Microsoft had been considering lowering the revenue split for PC games in exchange for the grant of streaming rights to Microsoft, which is also intriguing to see too, because I think that'd be in regards to Game Pass. So it'd be like, hey, or even xCloud, like, hey, we'll give you a little bit maybe less money, but at the same time, we could also go and stream it. Now, some companies may take that, some may not. If Microsoft had proceeded with his plans, that could have led to the company securing exclusive streaming rights on some games, preventing them from being available on rival streaming services. So this also kind of keeps on stemming back to how it feels with Netflix and, like, say, HBO, Disney Plus, where if you have it all on Netflix, you do not want that on other platforms. You want, say, The Office, you want, say, TV shows, movies, etc. And the fact that they're actually losing some, say, for Netflix, for Disney Plus, it does actually negatively affect business and subscriptions. And that's, I think, what Sony's trying their best to prevent, and that's what Microsoft is trying their best to gain foothold in by spending the money to get these exclusive games. So it really is a back and forth. So as of right now, it all kind of just depends on the publishing contracts are written, and both Microsoft and Sony regularly secure game exclusives that involve time releases, console exclusivity, and lots of marketing dollars, which is very intriguing to see. Microsoft is attempting to convince Brazil's CADE regulator that it should waive through the company's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard for the $68.7 billion. While the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, is analyzing documents from Microsoft on its acquisition in the U.S. that corresponds as private. Was that the case in Brazil, where its competition regulator offers public documents that provides unique insights into the business competition between Microsoft and Sony? So what that kind of means is it seems like a lot of these big places and companies are kind of doing this stuff by itself. Like, no matter what, it's ongoing in the private. Like, the private deals, private, whatever. Which is fine. A lot of these companies, although are public, don't have to give the day-to-day details of what's going on. But as is kind of more in like a legal case for Brazil, you have to go and show these legal documents. You have to let everyone know about what's ongoing and what's happening. And that's why it's so intriguing, because Sony does not want this Activision deal to go through. They'd rather Activision keep on going down in their slump, because they haven't been doing too well game-wise, PR-wise, etc., but they want to maintain the game contracts they have with, say, Call of Duty, Overwatch, etc. And that's why it's so hard, because Call of Duty obviously wants to be a big game. It is a big game. And that's why Microsoft wants to buy it, because then they're going to have Call of Duty for the next forever until they want to sell it. So documents in Brazil's CADE have been analyzed by Xbox and PlayStation fans over the past week, with posters on Reset Era highlighting the juicy parts, which if you guys want to go more in depth, let me know. The regulators have been asking Sony and other Microsoft rivals about the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Sony previously responded to Brazil's regulator, claiming that it'd be difficult for other developers to create a franchise that rivals Activision's Call of Duty, and as it stands out as a gaming category on its own. We had a chance to touch on that too as well, and I still think that Sony probably could if they invest the money into it, but just more so their counterpoint was that Call of Duty had thousands of people and multiple games and big brand naming as now. So basically, Microsoft disagrees, and Ubisoft, Riot Games, Bandai Namco, and Google have all highlighted competition to Call of Duty in forms of Apex, Battlefield, PUBG, and more. Microsoft also claims that adding Activision Blizzard content to Xbox Game Pass will actually increase competition somehow, which I'm not sure if I agree on that. The inclusion of Activision Blizzard content in Game Pass does not impair the ability of other players to compete in the digital game distribution market, claims Microsoft in one document, where the company also argues it increases the competition thanks to high-quality content at lower immediate cost. And I'm not really super sure on this one, too, because at some point there is a level where you just can't go and do a loss leader, and that might be getting close for Sony, that they can't really pull like a $15 a month and throw in games like Call of Duty, God of War, Ragnarok, etc. I mean, maybe, but it just doesn't seem like their business plan, and I'm not sure how long they could eat that cost to see if it even would turn profitable or not. Microsoft has, Microsoft money, which does add a lot more kind of pressure for the titles. But it does kind of make sense to a little bit that Microsoft can say that, hey, you could still buy the game on PS5. It's not stopping anyone. But if they want to get it for $10 on Game Pass, they totally can. Wink, wink. So Sony has not particularly responded to this as of yet, but at $10 per month for Xbox Game Pass, It's easy to imagine consumers picking that option to play titles like Call of Duty instead of paying $60 or more for the game. Microsoft also argues that it's not distributing games like Call of Duty at rival console stores would simply not be profitable for the company. Microsoft has previously made it clear it will keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, which is still good, and Microsoft says the strategy of not distributing Activision Blizzard games on rival consoles would only be profitable if the games could attract a high number of players over to the Xbox ecosystem, resulting in revenue to compensate for the losses of not selling on those titles, which also makes sense. If you have a game like that's selling, like, let's say you make $1 billion on PlayStation, you'd have to somehow make like $1 billion plus like $1.1 billion to go get more money from it. Like, it is kind of just more worthwhile just to keep it all on one side. So whether Microsoft claims about blocking rights are accurate or not, it wouldn't be the first time Sony has used financial incentives to block game developers. Sony has held back PS4 cross-platform play for years, mainly because they don't want to deal with Xbox and have like that cross-play phenomenon. Also, Sony's cross-platform revenue share forced publishers to pay Sony a royalty to as well whenever PlayStation players contribute more than a certain percentage to the bottom line of the cross-platform game, which is also a really big drama too as well, because it's kind of like, hey, if we have 70% of the player base, we're keeping the game alive, you guys better go and pay money for it. So give me your comments down below, because this is kind of just like the end-all back and forth between Sony and Microsoft. Do you guys think it's a monopoly? Do you guys think it's not a monopoly? How do you guys think it's kind of going on the long term? Leave a comment and let me know, and I want to kind of hear your thoughts. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below, Twitter and Twitch stream down below, Target links down below, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.